Steph, we welcome back to the show General Jack Keane, Fox News Senior Strategic Analyst. General, as always, it's fabulous to have you here. Let's just start. What do you make of the Navy move now? It's sort of like formally reopening the Gulf, letting ships through. We did a couple today. Our reporting, Jennifer Griffin and others, they're going to be ramping up more and more ships. How do you see that?
Yeah, well, this is a major decision by the president. Obviously, the Iranians shut down the Straits of Hormuz. They wanted to stop the war. They got that. The president thought, based on some preliminary thoughts about negotiations, he entered into it. He's given them 3 weeks to come up with something that's acceptable. There's nothing that they have come up with that's acceptable to our president. He's not going to take a bad deal. He's made another big decision, open the Straits of Hormuz. And that's what's happening. This is a very complex and comprehensive operation that our viewers are not going to really see much of or even reporting much of, because it starts with one, they've already done it. They've cleared a channel close to Oman, which is the country across from Iran, some 21 miles across. There's no mines there, so there's a pathway through it. Secondly, a layered defense that goes scores of miles deep into Iran with aircraft and surveillance drones as well, to take down any drone that's launched long distance or medium range, or any anti-ship missile or a ballistic missile trying to take down ships in the Straits of Hormuz. Then there's a dome defense, Larry, right over the straits themselves. And that dome defense is there to defeat any land-based attack, say a shoulder-fired missile on at a ship, any surface fast boats or under the water uncrewed boats, or any penetration that gets through the layered defense. That would be the terminal defense right at the straits. Based on that, for the last couple of weeks, they've been talking to ship owners, ship insurers, and the merchants of the ships that are out there. There's hundreds there. They talked to 2 to 3 dozen of them. They are prepared, once they're secured, to begin to move their ships through. Supposedly tonight, they will move some ships through, and it's getting nighttime right now in that part of the world. And as predicted by Admiral Cooper and others, who's the commander of our forces, it's likely the Iranians will retaliate to try to intervene in terms of what we're doing at the Straits, but also frustrated with the defense that we have, they likely will retaliate on allies or partners and U.S. bases.
So, I'll turn to a general today because just like Donald Trump, Donald Trump been to military school. I think that a lot of our presidents, our best presidents have, in some form or fashion, been involved with the military. We have moved on from Epic Fury into Project Freedom. Project Freedom. Well, this particular Project Freedom is going to go into the U.S. being able to guide the ships that are in the Strait of Hormuz out of them. And a lot of those ships are going to be able to come get oil, the oil that they need from the United States of America. One thing that I need to take note of is the fact that, we, as an American who have went into this operation, like I said, this is not a war. We went over there to control the culture of Iran when it comes to this whole idea with regards to death to America. Why is that important? It's important because, first of all, Iran has for a long time been seen as kind of like the big boss of the Middle East and trying to be. And been using intimidation more likely so to do so with the thoughts of terrorism. They're more of a terrorist regime than anything. Kind of looks nothing like the Iran prior to the 1970s, right? Where the Iranian people were more likely to thrive. When you think about Iran and you think about the possibilities of Iran, you need to go and think about Beverly Hills, the architecture that's in Beverly Hills. Because when you think about Beverly Hills, the Iranian culture has built up a lot of that. They came at a time in the 70s to where the homes in Beverly Hills, you can probably get for $200,000. You can't walk into Beverly Hills today without spending about $20 million on a home. That's how great of an essence that the Iranian people seeking asylum from the Iranian regime that's currently there with this Islamic Republic has done in running away from there and coming into the United States and seeking refuge. So all immigration is not a bad thing, right? But I'm not on the negative sides of immigration right now. I'm on this whole Iranian issue with regards to Project Epic Fury and this Project Freedom. And there is a economic operation that is going on in Iran as well to stop it from selling this sanctioned oil and at a cheap price. We need to think about China, right? I don't know if he's going to go into Karg Island, but listen, we need to do to China what China did to us. One thing you got to think about when it comes to China, China is not a warmongering country. No, they're not. And how do you know that? Think about Bruce Lee. No, not Bruce Lee. But think about Jackie Chan. Think about Jet Li, right? Think about these two individuals. Think about the ideologies of karate. The ideologies of karate is not necessarily to fight. The ideologies of karate is, a style, right? It is a practice in which you use for defense. But the whole idea as well when it comes to karate it's a regards survival. So, in essence, what China has done to the United States in being able to infiltrate it from the inside on how it continuously tried to manipulate its influence into the country while surrounding the country like it was preparing for battle, right? And trying to take over as the number one superpower. When you think about it, they have no possibilities of doing it. Why? Chinese dollar sucks. The Chinese money sucks. The Chinese money is worth less than the United States money. And there is an unbalance with regards to that. Think about how manufacturing is coming back to the United States right now under Donald Trump. Think about the jobs that are being lost. Chinese real estate sucks. There is a lot of manipulation with regards to that. The Chinese are losing in the deficit game when it becomes to the U.S. having a trade deficit with it. So the Chinese dollar just sucks at the moment. They are getting attacked in so many different ways, but how can the United States use Iran to its benefit against China, just like China was using Iran for the benefit against America, the United States of America? When you think about Venezuela, when you think about Iran, when you think about why is it trying to get Taiwan, why you think about why is it trying to get control of Panama Canal and all these other portways around the world, and Donald Trump is doing a good job of getting all this stuff back, is because that cheap oil that it was getting from Iran and Venezuela is allowing it to build up its AI infrastructure. And we are in a AI race right now more than anything. It's the race to who can build the best AI. It's the race to who can go back out into outer space, which the United States is winning. And it is predominantly to catch up with regards to robotics. So how do you hurt China when it comes to this? By controlling Iran and controlling Venezuela. Stop allowing it to have the influence to go into these countries and give out these loans so that you can have influence in these countries next, primarily in the Western Hemisphere with Iran, and in the Middle East, when it comes to Venezuela, in the Middle East when it comes to Iran. So if the United States is able to control Iran like it does Venezuela. It's already pretty much done. What I don't think that should be done is we going over there and attempting to knock down the infrastructure in terms of the power supply over there in Iran, knocking down the power plants, get the uranium. 3 of the 5 points of Project Epic Fury are pretty much already completed. Because of this whole Strait of Hormuz thing, Iran ain't never gonna have a navy again, guaranteed. It's gonna look something like Germany. But while we are in the ceasefire, here we go, we have to get these ships out so then we can make maneuvers into a little bit of the shoreline of Iran to go get Karg Island. Assuming not Karg Island, but Karg. Why do we want Karg? Because we want to be able to control the Iranian oil flow. One thing that they want to, hint at us with is with the Strait of Hormuz, but with its oil supply. One thing about its oil supply that you got to realize is if that oil stops flowing out of its wells, that will destroy them oil wells. And who is going to pay for this war? Should the American taxpayer be paying for this war when we are going to control the culture of a society, of a regime who does not want to do anything but terrorize? And the reason why I wouldn't go in there and destruct the electrical plants, right, is because how do you break the backs of the Iranian regime most is that you have got to continue to communicate with the Iranian people who want this regime to be gone. How are you going to communicate with those people if all the lights are cut off? So you keep the plants. You go and get Karg Island. You go and get some of the ports the transport ports that is on the shorelines of Iran, and you make Iran come bring that fight to you. If you want y'all stuff back, then come out of hiding and bring your stuff. Bring your A game so we can find y'all. We can take you up out of hiding. We can take you away from the people and make you fight. And we acknowledge to the people that we are saving your oil for you. The money that we making from this oil, we are saving it up for you to have. The worst thing that the Iranian people can do, the Iranian regime can do, is take out them electrical plants themselves. Right? Let's allow him to continue talking.
And that, as you recorded here, they have fired 12 ballistic missiles into the UAE and 3 cruise missiles, as just announced by the defense minister. In my judgment, that's a major violation of the ceasefire, and I think we're going back into a campaign, big and powerful, to bring down all the other targets that we have not brought down.
Military campaign.
Military
Combat
campaign. Bombing. And also, we have to recognize that dealing with Hezbollah in Lebanon by Israel, there's been over 50 ceasefire violations by Hezbollah. And according to the terms of the agreement, Israel is in a defensive crouch, only allowed to conduct defense against what's targeting them. This should remove, based on what the Iranians have done, the ceasefire hold on them. So Netanyahu should be given a green light, once and for all, finish the campaign against Hezbollah. Let's end it on Israeli terms.
Do you think the Iranians would be stupid enough to fire on our Navy, on our ships?
Oh, absolutely.
You're talking about this dome, for example, whether they're these little motorboats or whatever missiles they have left. You think they'll actually do that?
They'll try. I mean, they did. That's what prompted it in 1988. Now, they were a different military then. They don't have the capability they have now. They did fire on U.S. ships, and that's prompted Ronald Reagan to take action against them, to bring down the small little Navy they had and attack some oil platforms. It was predictable that they would do something quickly here out of frustration. So, listen, President Trump has called their bluff here, and he's put down a marker. and we're going to open up the straits, and that is the only card these guys are holding, and he's about to take it away from them.
And they put up, I haven't seen the whole thing, but apparently their list of conditions doesn't even mention nuclear capabilities, doesn't mention terrorism, doesn't mention all the key things that President Trump absolutely, I think, unconditionally will demand from them. So it's the old story. You've described it many times. They're just playing for time. That's all they're trying to do. They're not serious about any peaceful arrangement.
They never have been. I mean, when they went to the ceasefire, when we went to the ceasefire, they got what they wanted. You and I have talked about it. Stop the war. They got that. We went into negotiating mode, and they were playing that card.
Yeah.
And they were tantalizing, I think, many of our negotiators with the promise, these are moderate, quote, people willing to make a deal and putting likely some serious concessions on the table just to incentivize the discussion. But when it really gets down to making a decision, as we quickly found out after the first negotiation, and they had a check with the boss, the IRGC commander, he said thumbs down on all of that. And the negotiations were over. They're not going to make any deal that's acceptable to our president, and he's not about to make a bad deal.
Right.
You can see what he's about to do. He's opening up the Straits of Hormuz, and he'll eventually return to the bombing as well.
It just seemed like opening up the Strait, putting the Navy in there, getting the ships. It's the first step. The next step is probably going to be military operation, some kind of specific targeting, as you've described. I don't know, it may be Carg Island, it may not be, but it'll be something. He's lost patience. But the IRGC they're crazy people. I mean, they have a death wish. Now, speaking of their death wish, is it possible at some point, we're starving them, the blockade and the embargo, the no money coming in, they can't pay payrolls, they own businesses, they're not going to be able to pay a payroll there, retirement accounts, the Treasury is freezing or seizing their own assets offshore. At what point is it possible that the citizenry will, just step up and do something? And just one more, sir, as a corollary, the so-called regular army, the ones that were drafted, not.
So the regular army is not going to be able to get paid. The citizenry, there's been talk to arming the citizenry in Iran, which I don't necessarily agree with, just based on the fact that, you can get into problems to where you're just giving the weapons to the IRGC. That's the most scary part with regards to this. I do believe that the IRGC is going to have to start to do recruitment of the young Iranian people in Iran who are with the regime. So this is why I don't necessarily want to go into the interior of Iran, because I think it's a bad idea. If they're going to destroy the plants, let them destroy them themselves. But you keep the communication open with the Iranian people who want Iran to go back to its old ideologies, which had an appreciation for the West, so that when all this fighting is over with, right, these are the people that you want to be in line. You don't necessarily want them fighting. You want to see who can be the next up, because the IRGC is going to get weaker and weaker. And this is why I like to bring China up, right, in terms of survival, in terms of the ideologies that you can see with regards to karate, is that all you need is time to work this thing out right here. And it definitely cannot be a rush. So as Project Epic Fury was one thing, I expect another project to go in there and get Carg Island and some other ports that this oil supply was running from and being exported. If you control that, if you make Iran now shows what it has after you take that over, they are going to come. And all the United States has to do is to be prepared. or they just get their stuff taken over. And at the same time, you can just understand that they can understand that they are going to be paying for the operations, all the operations that are going on, excuse me, with regards to the United States in Iran, because that will lead to 4 of them. Project Freedom, Project Epic Fury, the economic project that is going on with the banking systems, as they have tried to use other denominations and cryptocurrency with regards to training their sanctioned oil. And then what I expect another project to come up in there to go and get Kark Island and save the money for the Iranian people to prepare to take over after the the RGC is pretty much dismantled.
The IRGC, which we've talked about, could anything happen there to overthrow completely this regime?
Yeah, as the regime, well, first of all, they believe they can outlast us. They don't care about the suffering of the people. The leaders, all they care about is surviving. They believe eventually they can recover. It may take years, but surviving is the objective. So, yes, as the fissures and fractures start to take place, I strongly believe that what is needed now is the CIA and Mossad to come together with a combined plan presented at some level of detail to the President of the United States to do 2 big things. 1, undermine the regime, and 2, assist the Iranians. There is no internal pressure on them, and let's apply it. There's huge external pressure. Obviously, we and the Israelis are applying it. Let's get some real internal pressure going. Let's get some chain reaction going on the mind of the people, particularly as the regime becomes weaker and weaker and weaker. We don't have an objective for a regime change publicly, but privately, we should be working our tails off to achieve that end covertly and clandestinely. I mean, think about it. People in the IRGC, they're wondering, are we going to survive or not? Somebody approaches them and says, listen, are you willing to work with me? I got $50,000 in my pocket. Here's what I need you to do. Does the Mossad do that? You betcha. They do that. They have done that. We need to do more of it. We need to talk to the Iranians. There are people under arms right now in Iran. Kurds, Azaris, and Baluchis. We got to green light them. And maybe we get a chain reaction going in the country with people who are not under arms, but also willing to come into the streets. We can keep the adversary off their back because we got we own the sky. I'm talking, we're going back to full combat operations.
So it's different than in the past.
It's different than in the past. They're not out there alone.
So what about?
I wouldn't trust that in terms of letting other countries come in and step in and being able to fight the IRGC when all you have to do is take over Kark Island and some of the ports and wait on these people to come for you, wait on them to get jealous enough and mad enough that they are not surviving, they're hungry, they're not getting paid. And a lot of the times you're going to see some military begin to wave that white flag, some military members, in terms of just not wanting to go out there and fight. For what? We're not getting paid to go out here and fight. So what are we going to go out here for? Well, where's the loyalty at in making sure that we are taken care of? Just like with this whole idea with the government shutdowns that we've been having where the military hasn't get paid. Luckily, we have. How long do you think that was going to last before military personnel begin to say, hey, man, what's going on? This is not right. You begin to see how, they wasn't going to be able to stay quiet forever. Just keeping it honest. We all, this is a value system that is around the world that you get paid for the work that you do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody likes a thief. But at the moment, Kark Island can be taken over. Some of them ports can be taken over. Make Iran and the RGC pay for all these operations that are going on over there in order to control this regime with regards to death to America, because it is a culture. And they do have a loyal base, right? But at some point in time, the steam is going to run out when you're hungry, when you don't have no money to feed, your family and stuff like that. But you relate to the Iranian people, the one who's are against this regime, too, that we have your money and we have it sitting here waiting for you. You make the RRG look just so bad and despicable that this is how you control this is how you downgrade their influence from the inside. Y'all can come all day. We got all the weaponry that we need to do our job. All y'all had to do is just come. Take y'all stuff back if you want. Now, with regards to that, there is some military personnel that is going to be lost. You can expect that, right? But they can do this all day as long as they feel like they got the Strait of Hormuz and they got their oil supplies in check. All right, so how do you speed this up so that the United States, I'm just thinking on military terms, right? And I'm not in the military, but I'm thinking in military terms, right? How do you, I'm just a person who likes to study generals. How do you control, or how do you speed this up, and how do you get a warrior with so much bravado to get mad, angry, and frustrated when it's been trying to look like this big power from a world perspective? You just take their stuff away from them. There's this things that you don't, even in America, that you just don't let nobody just take your stuff. The laws in America and in the United States that you have a right to defend your property and get it back however you must. You can take it with force. And there is a reason for that. You know what I'm saying? So in the same consciousness, as you can see that they want to be the big bad beast of the Middle East in terms of terrorism. They not gonna like the United States just taking their stuff and making money off their stuff at the same time. And to know that they are going to be paying for this whole operation, that is going to look bad on them in terms of their influence to the people of Iran and to the soldier who is not getting paid. So you keep them power plants up, you run them radio transmissions however you must, television, radio transmissions, and you continue to advertise and sell to the Iranian people that, hey, when this regime is completely done and over with, we are able to come get that uranium up out of there. We have your money waiting for you. Everything you need is being stopped by this regime. Tiny Cross-H.U.G on the Trumped Up Live Show. I just wanted to give a brief update with regards to Project Epic Fury and the two other projects that are going on, Project Freedom, and there is the economic project that is going on to stop this whole idea with Iran being able to sell its sanctioned oil, and primarily China being the primary benefactor of this exchange, as it wants to be the number one in AI. It's a good day to be a soldier.